I'm just curious, what's holding me from the life I want? Because I don't mean that in a greedy way. I think I've done a lot of things to date, you know, especially for my age. I may have done a couple of things, but what's really holding me from what I want? What are the factors that is holding me back? And I think this is something that a lot of people wonder. And, I think a lot of us know what's holding us back, and we're not addressing it. So I like to address some of the things that are holding me back. One is having responsibility for things I shouldn't be responsible for. Meaning that, uh, you know, sometimes you have people in your life, sometimes you have things in your life or circumstances, or like, that one friend that always calls you, talking about drama and trying to, intel you on what's going on with this, da 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 da, and this person's doing, you know what I'm trying to get into. That is not good because that takes your mind off the track of things that are important. You gotta bat that out of your life, or people who are hanging on to you. You can't have people hanging on to you while you're going to the top. Think about, let's say a rocket ship. Let's say hypothetically there's a rocket ship, right? We're gonna see how fast this rocket ship could go up. What's the defining factor in how fast it could go up? It's obvious, right? How much weight is on it. So if this is you and you're the rocket and you're trying to go up, but everybody's holding on to you, you probably gonna go up, but it's gonna take a lot longer and it's gonna be a lot more effort. That's all I'm really trying to get across. I think another one of my defining factors is running from pain, dog. You gotta understand the world is very leveled, right? And so to get things that you want that other people don't have, you have to go through things that other people aren't going through, or else that would make the world not fair. But I think the world's pretty fair. Everybody says life ain't fair, but I think it's pretty fair because the people who go through the most pain and stick through it do better than the people who are avoiding pain at the same time. So how is that not fair? You see what I'm saying? So I think sometimes I might catch myself trying to run from pain, but what is pain? You know what I'm saying? What is pain? Like, do you feel anything? Everybody has gone through painful shit. Do you feel it right now? Is it dragging you right now? You feel it right now as you're looking at this screen? You don't feel that. It's in the past, yo. So when you're here in person and you're going through that pain, you just gotta understand in the future you're not gonna be feeling this pain and it's gonna pay off. So you just gotta go head up with that pain. And I'm not talking about pain like you might think I'm talking about like pain that hurts. I'm talking about mental pain. I'm talking about when the alarm clock goes off and you just have that some dragging you down inside, like, yo, stay in bed. You gotta fight that. That's a fight. That's the biggest fight there is out there. That fight with yourself. That's like, oh man, I could just stay in bed. Okay, 5 more minutes. That's something I struggle with. And I run a company. I'm 18 years old. I run a company, and sometimes that alarm clock goes off, and I'm just fighting myself. I'm like, yo, I gotta get out of bed. Find yourself an excuse. Tell yourself, hey, I'm just gonna go get a drink of water. I'm not even getting out of bed. Then once you up, you up. I promise. It's just getting out of bed, because there's just that it's either, it don't matter what you want to call it, but something's holding you down from getting you out of bed. And whatever that is, they don't want to see you do good because you need to get out of bed. I think there's just a lot of defining factors in what's holding us back from success, what's holding us back from who we want to be and what we want in life. I think there's a decent amount of things, but I'd say that as my starting three. If somebody was to ask me the question, I'd say that was my starting three. But yeah, man, you got to understand that the pain it's inevitable, right? It's inevitable. Or else things wouldn't be fair if you could just, you know what I'm saying? If you could just like skate your way through things and wasn't no pain and you doing good and you better than everybody else and everybody else is here, then there has to be a reason why you're here and they are there. And that reason is that you didn't duck the pain. If there was no reason, then God didn't create the world fairly. But he did. Everybody wants to say he didn't, but he did. It's pretty damn fair because who is on top? Whoever worked the most. Okay, there's certain factors, like some people were born with certain talents and this and that, da 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 da. But more than likely, they still had to work their ass off. So it's whoever worked the most is up there. You know what I'm saying? It's here. And then whoever might have worked the second is here. Whoever worked the third is here. And see, the problem with work is people think work, and they just you, when you hear work, you just think the labor shit, the stuff that you see on the outside, the physical stuff. You think work and boxing, you thinking whoever's hitting the bag, whoever shows up to the gym moves. Work is mentally too. Y'all forgetting. You have to work mentally on yourself, because the person who shows up to the gym every day and does all the workouts and does everything that he needs to do, and he's ducking, bobbing, weaving, all this good stuff, there's another factor. There's confidence. You know what I'm saying? There's optimisticness, being in a situation and being like, okay, there's a way out of this situation. The guy who shows up every day and does everything that he needs to do, but when it comes to a time of when things get rough, he gets hit in the face, he gets stunned, then all of a sudden he's out of the fight. I'm about to lose this fight. That's a part of the work. The work is mentally too. So, you know, everybody's forgetting that work is mental too. You think that work is just this? You think work is just that, or work is just that? Work is here too. I could be just like this. I'm working because I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, what are my mental defaults? You know, where do I fall short in my mind? You know what I'm saying? Like, what situations put me to think pessimistically? Well, when do I start to think pessimistically? Like, oh, as soon as I get hit with an overhand, I start to think I'm about to lose the fight. That's a problem, yo. We got to change these things. We got to think, okay, I get hit with an overhand. How do I feel? Am I dizzy? Okay, how do I keep my opponent from me? I'm talking boxing just because boxing is something that, you know, a majority of people could comprehend what I'm trying to say. But I'm talking about in life. I'm talking about, so if you're a business, if you run a business and you get knocked down, financial stuff gets rough, you don't think, oh, it's time to close up this business. You thinking like, oh, how do I get myself out of this? And what do I learn from this after I get myself out of this, to make sure that this is not a repeat thing? You see what I'm trying to say? So work is mentally just as much as it is physically. That's another thing. When I'm saying running from pain, the pain is mental. The majority of the pain is mental. This stuff on the outside, it's not real. You just seeing it. It's just eyes. That stuff is not real. What's real is what's on the inside and what's in your mind. That's work. You gotta work. You gotta work yourself. I'm talking about, you could spend a whole day just sitting there. I'm not telling you to do this, but you could spend a whole day just sitting there, write down on a piece of paper all of your mental defaults. Because we know when we get nervous. We know what makes us feel off. We know when we close up. We know you're very familiar with yourself, a lot more than you might think. Just observe yourself. And once you observe these things, then you need to find a way to tackle it. That's it for this one. Y'all, God bless.